who are running things this year, the head of our referees, and who's going to be doing some of the speaking instead of me, Dovey Rabinowitz. And also this year, first time running the entire Fuchs. And now I have a special guest that I want to introduce to you. This summer was a very, very, very tough summer for all of us that were in Israel. I know many of you were not in Israel, but I'm sure you followed developments. And the war in Gaza was an extremely tough experience for all of us everywhere in the country. One specific thing I wanted to say is about our football world, and that is that we were supposed to host the World Championship of Flag Football. 29 teams were supposed to come to Israel this summer from 20 countries. This was going to be one of 6 different places around Jerusalem that games were supposed to be held. And as a result of the war, the entire championship was canceled and moved to Italy. So that was, of course, very tough for us. And the personal sacrifices that some people had to have were just unbearable. One young man named Max Steinberg, not much older than most of you, had visited Israel on a program, and then he decided to come here and go straight into the army. It happens that Max loved football. He was a football player. His Facebook site was filled with it. And he was also a great fan of the Patriots, as it happened. We have with us now the sister of Max, Paige Steinberg. Oh, so what I wanted to say is that what we decided to do was to dedicate this season, the entire season, in Max's memory. All of you noticed that on your uniforms there's a logo, and inside that logo it says Max. Our national teams, when they went to Italy and took part in that tournament, all of them went with the logo Max on their shoulder. So now I'd like to have Paige say a few words about her brother and his love of football.
Hello. It is truly an honor to be here tonight. These past couple of days I've been trying to find the right words to share with you all this evening, because I know Max would be so deeply moved if he knew that this football season was dedicated to him. Growing up in Los Angeles, California, football was the most talked about sport in our household. As Max and Jake's little sister, I can honestly tell you that when I was younger, I did not know much about football. I would push my dolls around in a stroller while my brothers and father would sit at the edge of their seats containing with their excitement while watching football together. Nonetheless, the football season always had a way of bringing family and friends together. My family would often host dinners for big football games, and anyone who wanted to come over was more than welcome. My grandfather used to have the largest Super Bowl parties, and as my brother and I got older, even our school friends would attend them. But Max loved football. I specifically remember Max dressing up in his New England Patriots jersey to watch his favorite team play his favorite sport. He had a Patriots helmet that he would place right next to the TV every time the Patriots played. I'm pretty positive our neighbors at the end of our block could hear Max screaming and cheering when the New England Patriots made a touchdown. Max would do his little victory dance, and our dogs would get all riled up, and I would pretend like I knew what happened just so I could enjoy Max's moment with him. You know, many things in life brought excitement to Max. He found the simplest things to be fascinating, and he was appreciative for everything he had. Max was like a bright light that could never be dimmed. His positive spirit was always so refreshing to be around in a world with much negativity. It is like a breath of fresh air to spend time with someone who can not only take your mind off of your worries, but can also make you laugh and feel optimistic as well. As passionate of a person as Max was, nothing can compare to his love for Israel. I feel blessed to have been with Max during the most pivotal moment of his life. Both of my brothers and I came to Israel in the summer of 2012 for our first time. We weren't quite sure what to expect, but we knew it would be an unbelievable bonding experience for the three of us. I am forever grateful for this birthright trip. My brothers and I became connected to each other in Israel on a level we didn't know existed. It was unbelievable to watch how quickly connected Max felt to Israel. About 7 days into our trip, our first time ever being in Israel, Max was already telling my brother, Jake, and I that he wanted to join the Israeli army. I know what Max looks like when he's excited about an idea, but this was different. Max felt a connection to Israel that was so deep, and the look in his eyes when he explained to me that he wanted to move here and join the army was courageous and determined. When I find myself having a rough day, I think about this moment with Max. Serving in Golani was the highlight of Max's life, and there was nothing he was more passionate about. Max willingly sacrificed his life for the love of Israel and the Israeli people. As tough as it is for my family and I to keep pushing forward without him by our side, we always remind ourselves of the bravery Max and every other soldier have while fighting for the land of Israel, and we feel strengthened. I know my family wishes they could be here tonight, but I am very grateful that I now live in Israel and was able to attend this ceremony. It warms my heart to see my brother's name on all of your jerseys. He would be ecstatic. Football was Max's favorite sport, and the New England Patriots was his favorite team. The fact that I am speaking in honor of my brother at KRAFT Family Stadium in Jerusalem right now is very special. Max would be so thrilled to be here. Thank you so very much for this beautiful dedication to my brother, Max. Thank you.
So, right after Max was killed in the war, there were articles written about him in the newspapers, and I noticed that he was a Patriots fan, and I let Mr. KRAFT know. So Robert KRAFT wrote the following letter to the Steinberg family. It is with a heavy heart that I write to you after having learned about your dear son and distinguished member of the Israel Defense Forces, Max. Although I didn't have the privilege of knowing your son Max personally, I have taken the liberty of reaching out to you since I noticed him wearing a New England Patriots hat in the photos. He represents the consummate patriot, and I am forever grateful for the sacrifices he made to keep our beloved Israel safe. His dedication and loyalty to Israel have not gone unnoticed, and I am sure he has left behind a legacy of which you and your family can be proud. On behalf of the entire New England Patriots team, please accept our most sincere condolences, as we are all profoundly saddened by his untimely passing. Sincerely, Robert KRAFT. Underneath the printed text that he sent to them, there was a handwritten note in Hebrew. Robert knows Hebrew, and he wrote, Ba'ava Rabbah, with great love, followed by the lines, we are all patriots, with love of our tradition and the people of Eretz Yisrael. I'd now like to invite to say a few words Ari Kaplan from the Ayelet organization.
Shalom. I will apologize for my English, but I won't apologize for my accent. As you can understand, I was born here. Three short things. One, each time I come to see the game, the football game, I ask myself, and I was talking with Dov Lipman before, that I don't understand why we, the Israelis, don't like the game. I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's smart game. Each person can find himself in every position, in the field. And sometimes, we think we know better, but we don't know. And I hope that people know the game and we can see more Israelis play it around Israel. Second thing, I want to say thank you to Steve and Adam, that is somewhere here, about what they did now with Max. I think it's very, very generous, impressive thing. It's very Jewish Zionist. And thank you very much. And last thing, I want to wish all of you a great season, winning, and a lot of fun. Shavua Tov.
All right, as the final thing before we go back to football, as I said, we have a former quarterback with us, Dov Lipman, who at one time I think actually threw 5 interceptions in one game. So I'd like to ask Dov to throw out the first ball to our commissioner, Yossi Fuchs. Yeah. Thanks a lot, guys. Play ball. Have a good time. כן, כן.
רגע, שנייה, תראו את התמונה.
Dov,
דוב.
I just want to get some more photos together.
Let him take a picture of that.
Can you take a picture?
Oh, KRAFT.
Another one.
I love you, Mayor Showman!
Got one out?
Can you take one more after?
You know what? There's the thing they say to pitchers. They never lose with your second best pitch. Keep throwing those best pitches. Thank you so much. Keep throwing your best pitches. Hey! Yo, shimmy! We do
Also, Adam.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the